I'm James of Pistils and Pollen. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I talk about plants all the time. It's what I do. I love plants. So if that's your thing, if plants are your vibe, I hope you like and subscribe for more content like this. Today, I'm gonna talk about Calatheas. Calatheas are one of my favorite plants. I mean, how can you not love them? Their leaf texture, their variation in colors and patterns, their striations, and I mean, they're just gorgeous plants. But you may have heard about them in not such a great light. Some people love to talk about how hard it is to care for Calatheas. And to be quite honest with you, I have been on Instagram Live and TikTok Live talking about how I would never own a Calathea plant. I have spoken very negatively in the past about these plants, but I've learned a few tricks that I want to share with you to help you care for Calatheas. They've worked for me, I think they'll work for you. Before we dive into that though, I want to talk a little bit about the natural history of Calatheas. Where do plants come from? I think it's so important to understand where plants come from. Where do they grow in their natural environment? I try to use that information, that knowledge of a plant in its natural habitat in order to try to mimic or copy or adjust the environment inside my home so that those plants can find just the right spot and have all of their needs met inside my living room or my bathroom or my kitchen or wherever I keep those plants inside my home. Now, Calatheas come typically from Central and South America, like a lot of houseplants. But what's interesting about a lot of Calatheas that I think is central to their care needs is that these plants are typically found growing along dense forests and the dense forest floor. So what does that tell us? Well, it's gonna tell us a couple things. It's gonna tell us that they like to grow in really rich soil, and jungle soil, rainforest soil tends to dry out or really drain very well in between watering. So it rains and it pours and you get a lot of rain and it rains every single day, but then it washes away. So they're not typically sitting in low-lying areas. They're not typically found along riverbanks and things like that. They're typically found around trees and shrubbery and things like that. So it's also gonna tell us that these plants don't typically like a lot of light. They're very well adapted for lower light conditions because they're gonna be just getting whatever filters through the dense rainforest canopy and makes its way to that floor bottom. A lot of these are been reclassified as Gepardia. So I'm gonna use prayer plants, plants in the Marante family, and Calatheas, all sort of interchangeably. I think all that's important is that these plants really have similar sets of care needs and characteristics that they've been scientifically reclassified. I think is personally super cool, and I try to stay up on all that, but what's really important is learning how to make these plants thrive and grow inside your home. And that's what we're gonna talk about next. So let's talk about the light requirements of Calatheas. What can we learn about the dense rainforest environment that these plants grow in that we can translate into our home? Calatheas and their light requirements are pretty straightforward. They don't need as much as most other houseplants. These plants are really well adapted for low light conditions. Now, I'll give you a few pointers. See these plants with these really dark maroon on the underside of this leaf. There's a burgundy color, a really dark green on the front side. And see this plant right here, it also has that same characteristic, this deep burgundy underneath, and then the green on top. Meanwhile, these other plants, it's much reduced. I mean, there's a little bit of burgundy underneath there, but it's a lighter, greener plant. There's less of that really dark color. Well, these really dark, burgundy colored plants are especially adapted to lower light conditions. So when I'm looking for a light situation inside my home for these varieties of Calatheas, these are the plants that I'm going to give to the darkest corner of my home. Whereas these sort of, this white fusion that I have right here, it can tolerate a little bit more bright light. So this little guy is gonna probably get something closer to an east-facing exposure. Watering Calatheas. When it comes to watering Calatheas, to be quite honest, if you manage to get their lighting requirements right, the watering situation is probably going to be what is your downfall with a Calathea, because the watering and the lighting are the two most important aspects, well, probably for most houseplants, but especially with Calatheas. Let's just face it, they're pretty fussy when it comes to those two things. But we've already talked about the lighting situation, now let's talk about the watering situation. When it comes to watering your Calathea, I find that it helps me to think about Calatheas a little bit like I think about a fern. Well, ferns are also very fussy when it comes to watering. What do I mean by that? I mean that they like to be pretty consistently moist, right? This is a plant that doesn't tolerate drying out very well. And if it does dry out, it's gonna very quickly become a little bit crispy. Now you probably can't tell, but this plant is one that I allowed to dry out just so that I could show you this by example. The edges of the leaves start to curl up, and once that happens, it's not going to recover. So I just let this plant dry out. I let its root ball dry out for just a couple days. I didn't water it, and already those leaves are starting to curl up and become a little bit crispy. Eventually they'll brown. Most people who grow Calathea can't stand this about Calathea. They're prone to brown, crispy edges. Well, letting them dry out is what causes that. Now, a lot of folks from their own experience tend to suggest other reasons why this could be. It could possibly be, some suggest that maybe your tap water has too much minerality, or it's a little bit sensitive to chlorine or some of the other chemicals that we add to our tap water. I have found in my experience that that can be the case with some plants. I haven't experienced that yet with Calatheas, but if that is the situation that you think is happening inside your home and with your Calatheas, I would suggest using sort of just a basic carbon filter, water filter, and using that to water your plants. If you can catch rainwater, that's great, awesome, wonderful for you. But for a lot of us, just a basic carbon water filter will help you find out if that is what's causing the brown crispy edges. But I would be willing to bet it's probably more likely related to the soil ball drying out a little too long and a little too frequently. Soil needs. I think if we talk about the soil needs for Calathea, I think that can help us address some of the issues we just talked about with regard to watering. I like to use, for my Calathea, my custom Aroid soil mix recipe. That information, it's on my website. You can find the full recipe and make it yourself. I use it for most of my tropical houseplants. And the reason I like it so much for most of my tropicals, and especially my Calathea, is because it's a very well-draining mix that is going to allow excess water to flow through the root ball and along the roots, and not retain so much that it leads to root rot with the plants. But it's also going to stay consistently moist. All of the ingredients are hand-selected and personally vetted by myself to make sure that this plant is consistently moist, like it would be in the rainforest, at the bottom of the rainforest, and well supplied with that nutrients, and doesn't dry out too quickly, but then also doesn't retain too much water either. Let's talk temperature and humidity for the Calathea. So when it comes to humidity, I find that this plant likes a little bit more moisture in the air than a lot of my other houseplants, which is why I prefer to keep my Calathea collection inside my primary bathroom. Now, my bathroom has a large north-facing window, so really that's kind of the perfect lighting environment for these low light tolerant plants. If you don't have a large window, these plants are great with grow lights. I love to grow them with grow lights in places where I don't have a window, because I think that they're just really tolerant to that low light, and grow lights typically aren't super powerful. So they're a good match for each other. If you've got a dark room with a grow light, put these guys there, as long as you can offer them the humidity that they need. And that's really the key. Temperatures, I find that, your typical household temperature between, 65 and 75, they're very happy in that environment. Feeding your Calathea. Now, when it comes to feeding your Calathea, my favorite technique for feeding my Calatheas is to feed them weekly. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I love this technique because it is the easiest way. It can almost run on autopilot. I use just a little bit, a highly diluted amount of fertilizer in my watering, and I give that to the plant every time I water, every week that I water. So a week amount of fertilizer every single week that I water. I find that Calathea respond very well to that because they don't need a whole lot. They don't usually send out a whole lot of growth all at once. They're not a super hungry, in spurts sort of plant. They're more like a slowed, steady eddy plant. So that sort of method or technique I find works particularly well. Pet safety. Are Calatheas safe around your pets? Well, the good news is that yes, typically they're generally considered pet safe plants. Now, as always, you don't want your beloved pet pals to be chomping down and eating these. There's choking hazards. It might give them an upset stomach, but it's probably not gonna send them to the pet hospital. Okay, so here's a quick overview of caring for Calatheas. Lighting. Bright and direct is always great for most houseplants, but these plants are especially adapted to lower light conditions. So a grow light or a north-facing window is perfect for plants like these. Watering. When it comes to watering your Calathea, these plants like to stay consistently moist. Think fern vibes, but don't let them sit in water for too long because they'll definitely get root rot. Soil. When it comes to soil, you definitely want to get them out of their nursery potting mix as soon as possible and replace it with something that is well draining, but also retains enough water to hold moisture for the week. My Aroid soil mix recipe is perfect for that. Fertilizing. When it comes to fertilizing these Calatheas, I like to use the weekly method, which means a low amount of fertilizer consistently applied every week that you water, rather than a bursted amount. They don't put off quite as much energy and they just don't need that like a lot of other houseplants do when they're putting out a big leaf. Pet safety. Fortunately, these plants are generally considered pet safe, so if you've got pets around, you probably don't have to worry about them too much. And that's it. Those are my top tips for caring for Calathea. Now, if you have a Calathea in your collection and you want to expand it, by all means, this is the perfect niche plant. This is the perfect kind of plant to grow a collection out of because there are so many different colors and varieties that Calatheas come in, right? So, and they're not too expensive. You can typically find them whether you're looking for them in my online plant shop or whether you're going to your local big box store or your local mom and pop nursery garden center. These plants are readily available for not too much money. They're relatively difficult to care for. They're a little bit more advanced, but with the tips that I just gave you, if you follow that, you get their lighting situation, you meet their lighting requirements, and you meet their watering requirements, give them a good potting mix, your plants are gonna be so happy and you're gonna have a beautiful, gorgeous collection. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you next time.